Kampala roads because we have officially started the Easter break. Yeah.
The jam will be highly debatable tomorrow because of, Catholics and Church of Uganda, rather Protestants, who will be hitting the streets with the way of the cross.
The way of the cross.
So I think that will be a little bit of, traffic congestion here and there.
Well, usually that is guided, and there is a route that is put out or specified by Uganda police, and there's guidance. So you get to know which part of town you should use and which one you shouldn't. And it doesn't take long as well.
Yeah, about 2 hours?
Yes, and we're done. So definitely we are headed for a clear weekend when it comes to traffic.
But anyways, I do also expect some Ugandans who will be heading home or to their ancestral homes to celebrate the Easter holidays.
Especially those who didn't move during Christmas usually use the Easter holiday to go to visit their parents or their farms, or just to go and cool off from the Kampala sun.
Well, we will see how today will pan out. Well, when you say 2 hours, it only takes 2 hours. I can also tell you that you don't need even less than 30 minutes for traffic to be a menace. No. So 2 hours could actually be a long time. But let's see how the way of the cross goes. And of course, we will be giving you updates here on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Also later on today, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, will be addressing us. So stay tuned, because we will be bringing you this live as it is happening at Namirembe Cathedral. But for now, we get into the news, and we start with President Museveni, who officially launched Salam Bank, Uganda's first licensed Islamic banking institution in Uganda, yesterday at Kololo Airstrip. As he addressed thousands of Muslims at the launch, he highlighted on reconciling them to work together with government to address limitations in Uganda's financial system that prevent Muslims from participating in accordance to their faith. The Muslim community of Uganda has often complained about government and commercial banks providing financial products that limit their uptake, causing economic setbacks. President Museveni assured them of his commitment to address these issues and support their financial endeavors by enabling Salam Bank take part in government programs. Now, away from that, the national carrier Uganda Airlines will take delivery of an Airbus A320neo aircraft next month through an SMI wet lease arrangement. Adding this aircraft to the airline's fleet will bridge the gap between its existing 4 CRJ-900s and 2 Airbus A330-800 neos. Speaking to UBC, Uganda Airlines CEO Jennifer Bamturachi explained that this will pave the way for more route openings. Uganda Airlines is expected to take delivery of an Airbus A320, a workhorse for airlines worldwide. This single-aisle jetliner isn't just popular, it is actively sought after by airlines looking to modernize and expand their fleets. Globally, there is strong demand for new passenger aircraft, particularly in the single-aisle segment. For Uganda Airlines, which operates a fleet of 6 aircraft, including 4 Mitsubishi CRJ-900s and 2 wide-body A330-800 neos, the need for a mid-range aircraft is long overdue. In more news, the members of parliament sitting on the Committee of Finance have accused the government of illegally pushing for a tax waiver for 4 different entities. This is after the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic presented 7 companies to the committee seeking for a tax exemption, of which 4 skipped the formal procedures of Parliament. Minister Henry Musasizi and his team were bounced and tasked to provide procedures seeking for the tax exemptions. 3 entities were recently tabled before Parliament seeking for a tax waiver totaling to 7 billion. On 15th March 2024, the Minister of State for Finance in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, tabled before Parliament 3 entities seeking for Parliament approval to be relieved of a tax burden totaling 7 billion. The entities included Nkumba University seeking for a waiver of 4.4 billion, Makerere Business Institute requesting a waiver of 239 million, and J2E Investments Corporation, a construction company attached to the Ministry of Defense, asking for a relief of 2.7 billion. Now moving on, the government of Uganda through Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, has started upgrading works for a 72.5-kilometer road project. At the groundbreaking event of the project linking 5 access roads, the Premier Robin Nabanja cautioned the populace against destroying and vandalizing the equipment. In a bid to improve service delivery among the citizenry, government put emphasis on infrastructure development, prioritizing the road network. Access roads connecting to Nakauka were part of the mandatory projects whose upgrading works have been officially started. The upgrade process will also include Chisubi Nakauka Natete, which is 27 kilometers, Nakauka Kasanje Mpiji, which is 22 kilometers, Nakauka Mawagulu Nanziga Maya, which is 11 kilometers, Kasanje Buwaya, 9 kilometers, and Entebbe Nachuogo, which is 3.5 kilometers. Well, that does it for local news. Now we delve into international news.
We start with the U.S., and it is on a very sad note. Former U.S. Senator and Vice Presidential candidate Joe Lieberman has died at 82. The cause was complications from a fall, according to a family statement, and the centrist represented the state of Connecticut in the Senate for nearly a quarter of a century. Mr. Lieberman became the first Jewish person to join a major party U.S. presidential ticket in 2000 when Al Gore selected him as a running mate. Mr. Gore said he was profoundly saddened to learn of Mr. Lieberman's passing. The longtime politician served as the U.S. Senator from Connecticut between 1989 and 2013. He was a powerful legislator, and his support was sought after in Washington. Senator Lieberman's love of God, his family, and America endured throughout his life of service in the public interest, his family said in a statement. A longtime Democrat, he broke from his party ranks on several issues, including its opposition of the Iraq War. He won his first term in office in 2006 as an independent. Now, away from that, the bodies of 2 people have been recovered from a red pickup truck which was submerged under the water where the Baltimore Bridge collapsed. 8 construction workers were on the bridge when a ship struck it, plunging them into the waters below. 2 of the workers were rescued on the day, but the search continues for the other 4, all presumed dead. Salvage crews are working to address hazardous material, and accident investigators are on the scene. 4 of the 6 victims of the bridge collapse have been named so far. At a press conference yesterday, Maryland State Police identified Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, 35, and Dolian Ronio Castillo Cabrera, 26, as the 2 workers recovered by divers from inside the truck. Mr. Fuentes is originally from Mexico and Mr. Cabrera is from Guatemala, but divers are no longer able to safely navigate the waters because of concrete and debris found in the river, police said. They are now using sonar scans and believe that vehicles that may contain other bodies are encased in the superstructure and concrete that came down with the bridge, an official said. Now coming back to Africa, the son of Guinea-Bissau's ex-president has been sentenced to over 6 years in prison by a U.S. court for leading an international heroin trafficking ring. Malam Bakai Sana Jr., 52, planned to use proceeds to fund his ambitions to become Guinea-Bissau's president through a coup, authorities say. He is the son of Malam Bakai Sana, who led the West African country from 2009 until his death in 2012. Sana Jr. has been linked to a failed coup in February 2022. He was extradited to the U.S. in August 2022, following his arrest in Tanzania a few weeks earlier. His trial began soon afterwards, and in September last year, he pleaded guilty to conspiring to illegally import drugs. Malam Bakai Sana Jr. wasn't an ordinary international drug trafficker, said FBI agent Douglas Williams on Tuesday. Sana Jr. is accused of importing heroin from several countries to Portugal and also from Europe to the United States. U.S. authorities say he could be deported following his imprisonment, as he is not an American citizen. And lastly, speaking matters climate, the recent humid heatwave in southwestern Africa was 10 times more likely due to human-induced climate change, according to a team of top climate researchers from the World Weather Attribution Group. The study suggests that without swift action to move away from fossil fuels, such heatwaves could occur approximately once every 2 years in the region if global warming reaches 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Creating heat action plans could mitigate the impact of these dangerous heatwaves on vulnerable populations in West Africa, the researchers advised. In February, an exceptionally intense humid heatwave struck West Africa, bringing temperatures typically not seen until later in the year. And that's it for climate news and what is happening internationally.
Now, as we come back from the international news, we come back home to the press that is in Uganda and, of course, the East African countries of Kenya and Tanzania.
And well, starting it off with the New Vision today, LC's to get pay rise, says the New Vision. Today's headline, local government ministries reveals new structure. And away from that, new ministers sworn in, the New Vision highlights. And there is a pictorial of Islamic banking being launched by President Yoweri Museveni. And looking at LCs to get pay rise, according to the New Vision, highlighting local government ministry has revealed a new structure, still in today's New Vision. Then there is a pictorial of President Museveni while greeting some of the heads of the Muslim community at the launch of Islamic banking. Now, new ministers sworn in, a pictorial of the 6 new faces in cabinet that was top to bottom at the front page of the New Vision today. Now, defilement, Masindi head teacher gets bail. That is also in today's New Vision. Now, moving forward, the Daily Monitor is highlighting government orders schools to register teachers, as the Ministry of Education and Sports has directed government and private education institutions to register all their teachers on the Education Management Information System by 15th of April or be barred from teaching. Now, maize and milk exports earnings go up, according to the Daily Monitor, a pictorial of the price changes within the same. Then in DM today, road safety tips for Easter holiday travels. That is according to the Daily Monitor still, as the Bank of Uganda rejects Anjuko's Stanbic Bank replacement. And why is that so? Read about it in the Daily Monitor. How new Islamic Bank will work. The Daily Monitor is giving you more of the same in today's edition. Now, away from Uganda, we cross borders to Kenya with the Daily Nation. And the Daily Nation is highlighting survey, a nation of bribes. The system is deeply corrupted and stinks to high heaven. How are the Kenyans going to get out of this? The Daily Nation is showing you more. Then dust, mud, rocks, rain let the Easter safari blast off as the safari is kicking off this weekend in Kenya. Now, education. State releases 30 billion Kenyan shillings to schools and universities as state withdraws fake fertilizer amid outrage. Then also, transition. Adios RT, celebrated TV journalist Rita laid to rest. Now, lastly, from our press review is the Citizen newspaper, why lorry owners are taking a beating on the Central Corridor. Now, Biteko orders removal of power company's boss. As in the Rising Woman Citizen series, do this and you will go places, says Salama. Now, top women academics unite to fight sexual bribery at varsities. As Hungarian minister visits Tanzania in boost to ties. Then also, why lorry owners are taking, you can see why the lorry owners are taking the Central Corridor. That is highly highlighted, including many of the truck drivers that have changed their routes while taking goods from the port of Dar es Salaam to inward East Africa. Well, that is it from our press review this morning. This is Thursday.
Yes, this is Thursday, and on Thursday what we do is throwback. Now we are going to take a short break, but we'll leave you with Tupac, Dear Mama.
Oh.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
I have a baby, and the baby would never be with me, but I was acquitted a month and 3 days before Tupac was born.
Started the Easter break. Yeah.
The jam will be highly debatable tomorrow because of, Catholics and Church of Uganda, rather Protestants, who will be hitting the streets with the way of the cross.
The way of the cross.
So I think that will be a little bit of, traffic congestion here and there.
Well, usually that is guided, and there is a route that is put out or specified by Uganda police, and there's guidance. So you get to know which part of town you should use and which one you shouldn't. And it doesn't take long as well.
Yeah, about 2 hours?
Yes, and we're done. So definitely we are headed for a clear weekend when it comes to traffic.
But anyways, I do also expect some Ugandans who will be heading home or to their ancestral homes to celebrate the Easter holidays.
Especially those who didn't move during Christmas usually use the Easter holiday to go to visit their parents or their farms, or just to go and cool off from the Kampala sun.
Well, we will see how today will pan out. Well, when you say 2 hours, it only takes 2 hours. I can also tell you that you don't need even less than 30 minutes for traffic to be a menace. No. So 2 hours could actually be a long time. But let's see how the way of the cross goes. And of course, we will be giving you updates here on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Also later on today, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, will be addressing us. So stay tuned, because we will be bringing you this live as it is happening at Namirembe Cathedral. But for now, we get into the news, and we start with President Museveni, who officially launched Salam Bank, Uganda's first licensed Islamic banking institution in Uganda, yesterday at Kololo Airstrip. As he addressed thousands of Muslims at the launch, he highlighted on reconciling them to work together with government to address limitations in Uganda's financial system that prevent Muslims from participating in accordance to their faith. The Muslim community of Uganda has often complained about government and commercial banks providing financial products that limit their uptake, causing economic setbacks. President Museveni assured them of his commitment to address these issues and support their financial endeavors by enabling Salam Bank take part in government programs. Now, away from that, the national carrier Uganda Airlines will take delivery of an Airbus A320neo aircraft next month through an SMMI wet lease arrangement. Adding this aircraft to the airline's fleet will bridge the gap between its existing 4 CRJ-900s and 2 Airbus A330-800 neos. Speaking to UBC, Uganda Airlines CEO Jennifer Bamturachi explained that this will pave the way for more route openings. Uganda Airlines is expected to take delivery of an Airbus A320, a workhorse for airlines worldwide. This single-aisle jetliner isn't just popular, it is actively sought after by airlines looking to modernize and expand their fleets. Globally, there is strong demand for new passenger aircraft, particularly in the single-aisle segment. For Uganda Airlines, which operates a fleet of 6 aircraft, including 4 Mitsubishi CRJ-900s and 2 wide-body A330-800 neos, the need for a mid-range aircraft is long overdue. In more news, the members of parliament sitting on the Committee of Finance have accused the government of illegally pushing for a tax
A documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Ham Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thursday. Thank you so much for sticking with us. This month is ending on 31st. That will be on Sunday. And of course, that will also be it will be Easter Sunday. So tomorrow is Good Friday, and for our friends and family that have been fasting during the Lent period, congratulations for coming to the finish line. And we hope that the spirit of Lent goes with you even after Lent, because what matters is what you be and how you treat others even after Lent. So good acts should not stop during the Lent period, but we should continue and be like that, be our brothers and sisters keeper. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am with Jerome Paul Sonko and Chantal Olive Akandinda. Now, together, we're looking to matters mental health. Reports claim that there is congestion at Butabika as mental cases soar. Now, Butabika is the National Referral Hospital for Mental Health Patients. And it is said that the hospital that was supposed to accommodate 550 patients now accommodates over 2,000, and it has very few doctors that are on government payroll. Now, these numbers are indeed worrying, because what this means is that as the country gets more and more mental health cases, we do not have enough facilities to accommodate them. Because when you look away from the government hospital, which is Butabika, and look at others, we have only 28 mixed outpatient and inpatient mental health facilities across the country. Now, some of these are privately owned, others are linked to a referral hospital somewhere. And still, for a country where it is said that many Ugandans are actually depressed or dealing with mental health related cases, this is not enough. And a lot more needs to be done. Of course, we will look at some of the factors that are making the mental health situation worse in the country. But before we even go there, we still want to know more. And I'll go back to the team. Chantal, we look at mental health cases, and then we look at the hospital. Butabika has basically more than 1,500. It is way beyond, because it's supposed to accommodate only 550 patients. And then the other issue is that there are few psychiatrists in the hospital. So we go back, because this is a government health facility. It is a national referral hospital for mental health related cases. What exactly is the government supposed to do to ensure that, first of all, these numbers are reduced? And by reducing them, it could start with maybe having different facilities. But what exactly should the government do to help the situation at Butabika Hospital?
This is the point where we need to to have what I would call assistance rendered to Butabika Hospital. Now, having identified that over 14 million Ugandans have mental health issues, it shouldn't have stopped at recognizing that over 14 million Ugandans have mental health issues. It should have gone to, after that, what do we expect and what do we do? When you try to find a mental health institution, a national referral mental health institution, you're only going to find Butabika. The rest that you will find are, in some few districts, you'll find a part of the referral hospital has where they try to treat these people with mental health issues, and then and then the rest are private. Actually, the biggest percentage, they're private practitioners. So having identified that we have growing cases, which are not stopping anytime soon, unless the root cause changes, which is likely not about to change anytime soon. So as we are looking at the soaring numbers of mental health cases, let's now consider, how do we put up facilities that are going to help these individuals? Let's look at how many psychologists do we have? As of 2021, the number of psychologists in the country were 35, registered and known, 35. Now, if we're to look for how many psychiatrists do we have, you're looking at about a hospital. You're looking at about 53 psychiatrists in the country. This is what we are looking at. So, if we are saying that the numbers have increased, what is the patient to doctor ratio? One psychiatrist, for example, the ratio is one psychiatrist to 1 million people. Is that even realistic? Are we achieving results from these interactions? And that is why we say now we need more help with having more psychologists and more psychiatrists joining the industry, if I may call it, and then we see how to fast forward, curb down the situation. Otherwise, we might reach a point where it is soaring and it's running out of control.
Well, a report by the Health Ministry says that 1 in 3 individuals is challenged or is facing mental health related challenges. And some of the causes for these include anxiety, depression, and alcohol. So putting this in mind, and of course there are many other cases or other mental health related challenges that go undiagnosed and untreated among teenagers and children. It's actually sad to think that children do not have mental health related challenges. In most cases, they are overlooked, and the claim is that they do not have problems. But according
right now,
exactly,
they're reporting that the children and the youth are the soaring numbers that we are talking about at the moment.
Exactly. So now putting that in mind and looking at the quality of psychiatric nurses that we have, how best can the government improve the quality of psychiatric nurses that we have? Because away from the doctors themselves, who does the menial work? In most cases, it's the nurses. They're the ones taking care of the patients on a day-to-day basis. So how best can we improve this quality?
I think we can also focus on giving room for therapists to get into our medical space much often. Because when you look at what we have today with these statistics, that 1 out of 3 Ugandans are having mental health issues. And this is a worrying statistic because it goes way beyond. And as much as we also look at children per se, who in most cases we tend to neglect because we feel a child cannot have a mental health, issue, or maybe a child cannot go into depression of a sort. So I think we also need to give room for therapists. We have many therapists today who are doing it on a private basis, but at times they are not recognized as much.
By recognition, what do you mean?
When you go to hospitals to find out whether these private hospitals per se have, or even public hospitals, by the way, I'll start with the public hospitals, to see whether they have therapists, you will realize that not so many of these, in fact, it is very rare to find a therapist attached to a public hospital or a government hospital. Now, the same applies to psychiatric nurses. When we talk about the quality of how we can improve the quality, it goes back to even the nursing schools. We need to put mental health as a critical kind of illness to be treated, because in a state that we are in today, it shows that at any one moment anyone can be affected, or all of us may be affected even before knowing that we have a disorder or a mental disorder. So that means we need to also have it within, these nursing, teaching colleges that we have as a country, and then also turn to opening up different branches of these mental hospitals. The way we have various referral hospitals in Uganda per se, it won't make, a lot of sense to only have one national referral hospital, which cannot accommodate more than 1,000 mental patients. And with the current population whereby every other day someone is getting, a mental illness of a sort, or someone is showing symptoms and the like, then that means you really need to bring these services closer to them.
Right.
And as much as we look at, improving the quality of the psychiatric nurses, but we also need to look at creating supportive systems. And this is where the government needs to look into employing therapists who are going to be supportive in different hospitals. So that means we should not only attach it to, let's say, a referral hospital or the National Referral Hospital of Butabika, but we can as well push it to various hospitals, even in the private sector, as much as, as something that is important in hospitals today. Because you do realize that at times, things that have actually also led to increase in blood pressure of so many people is, is due to stress, depression, And these are some of the sicknesses that are killing thousands of Ugandans. So it is something that we really need to work on as a country. And for the government, I think there needs to be a lot of funding when it comes to the mental health awareness. Why? Because if you have a hospital that is supposed to have only 550, that is supposed to only accommodate 550, then that means the space is limited. Then in a situation where we have few psychiatrists, we all know at times why we get into such situations. It's either the money that is coming in is less, or it's not coming in on time. And then even the quality, or let's say the welfare of these nurses, the psychiatric nurses who take care of most of these patients, they, when you actually go to Butabika, you realize that most of the nurses spend more time with the patients than the doctors. Because the doctors come in to do further studies on how the patient is actually behaving,
examining, reviewing,
examining and everything to see how are they developing. But we need to look at the nurses, but also create a supportive mechanism for the nurses. You check on their welfare, you check on you know, an external force of, let's say, a therapist that is supportive to these nurses. Why am I highly, you know, putting a therapist discussion on here? Is when you look into you know, many countries, or let's say the first world countries that we look at, we've seen mental health as something that is not taken lightly. And when you look at many of those countries, therapists are actually people who are actively in the medical fraternity or in the medical sector. So why not? How about if we start adapting it on a high note? And then maybe then you will realize that you're taking off a chunk of duties from these psychiatric nurses or even the psychiatrists themselves, but also trying to help them and improve Uganda's health sector as a whole.
I would also think about it like this. Look at when was Butabika established, for example? How long has that been before we started recognizing that mental health challenges have to be given attention? And I think that's where we needed to have had a wake-up call way earlier. And it's in the recent years that we are seeing the increase, and it's a steady increase. The curve keeps going up, which is something to worry about. So the question is, having identified or having realized that, listen, we had Butabika because there were not very many cases in the beginning, but now we have soaring cases. How do we go on from here?
And it actually shows that Butabika International Referral Hospital registered 1,500 patients in 2020 alone. On average,
during the lockdown, yes.
On average, the hospital that was supposed to hold only 550 patients, on average, it receives 500 patients a year.
So its capacity as a hospital is what is the number it receives.
It is really stretched. Its capacity as a hospital is the number it receives.
Yes.
Yet it already has, because mental health challenges, just like any other illness, sometimes may not go away immediately. You have people that are going to be admitted for quite some time, yes. And yet you have others that keep coming through.
But you see, also, it's really a worrying sign for us as a country. When we had a conversation about congestion at the Luzira Maximum Prison, per se, of course we have various prisons where these prisoners can still be, pushed to. And in a situation of mental health, or let's say mental illness surge in the country, when you have one national referral hospital, that is, where most of the patients are taken, because that is where government's top priority for mental treatment is put. You want to ask, what does our health ministry think about expanding this to the reach of many Ugandans? Because we have so many Ugandans who are facing the issue of mental illness, and they are not only in the city centers. Because that means if a patient in Gulu cannot afford to treat mental illness in one of the private entities, they have to rush
to Butabika.
Or even if a symptom has actually persisted, they're going to refer you to Butabika. So if we continue referring all the patients to one center, then we will definitely have this congestion taking up. And then treatment will even be more difficult.
Exactly. But also, let's look at it the other way. Yes, we know that for any illness, you're supposed to go to hospital. But when it comes to mental health related illnesses or problems, sometimes people don't need to go to a hospital. To be hospitalized. To be hospitalized. And partly the reason why the hospital is stretched is because every case is referred there. Because according to medics in the hospital, they're saying that we need to improve community engagement so that not every case is referred to the hospital. So when we speak about community engagement, how can we do this? Does it start from the home? Does it start from the school? Does it start from the society as a whole? How best can we be all a part of solving mental health related problems?
Think about it like this. Earlier when I mentioned that we have seen a steady growth in the number of mental health issues. Yes. So that means we now need to get to a point where after recognizing, we go back down to where do we start from to handle these cases? Let's go back down to families. So that means when you are talking to parents, if you get a chance to talk to parents, they need to know that their children get mental health issues. Parents also need to know that they also get mental health issues. So if we are aware that we are prone, yes, we are prone to these mental illness issues, that means that the moment you see a child with certain symptoms, you will know what to do. You will know that you don't have to take them to Butabika, but you can take them for therapy, for example, and transformational therapy will help them better than putting them in Butabika Hospital. I'm giving an example. So if we are informed as a population on what needs to be done, if there is awareness, if there is sensitization being done, I believe that would be the first step to putting down the numbers that we are experiencing at the moment.
Well, I have some views coming through, but if you have just joined us, you can join the conversation and share your views on how best we can, as a society, work together to reduce the number of increasing mental illnesses or the cases of mental illnesses that are skyrocketing. You can reach us through WhatsApp number 0709602592, or you can share your view on X app. The hashtag is UBCGMU. You can also send a text message still on the same number 0709602592. Now, Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye Luwafu says, good morning, family. I think we can mitigate congestion by dealing with the core problems that cause such mental problems. If our focus is getting remedy to things like poverty, depression, drug abuse, domestic violence, among others, trust me, numbers in such rehabilitation centers will be dropping. But imagine people who are mentally not stable but congested. It's a time bomb. Thank you so much, Cricket Derek. And this one says, to avoid soaring cases, mental health or of mental illnesses, we have to avoid much alcohol consumption, avoid drug abuse, and learn to minimize stress in ourselves. And this one says, good morning, UBC team. Let's look at root causes of this mental illness. You will also realize that from our own respective communities or villages, there are a lot of issues facing people. And I guess this is where we pick up the conversation again. Yes, we have seen the hospitals are stretched. This is the number that was supposed to be there. This is the number we have. 1 in 3 individuals is facing a mental illness related, a mental health related problem. So given that, what are some of the contributing factors of mental illnesses? What are the triggers or causes, both among children, teenagers, and even adults?
Depression is one of those.
But what causes the depression?
The depression is a lot of factors. One, you know, even unemployment, poverty, family, you know, family stress or family trauma. In most cases, for the children per se, how do they get into depression? A child may be depressed due to, you know, the background at home, how he or she is being treated by parents, or how they don't really consider the fact that this child has, you know, at times children have characters in them. And if you don't identify them at the get-go, at times the child is going to feel lonely in a space where they would have felt at home. You're the mother, you're the father, but you really don't have time for this child. And creating that loneliness for them later on culminates into the depression, and later on we are having mental illnesses of the sort. And then when you also look at
also, sorry to cut you short. Also, still on the children, how the parents treat each other
before them
trickles down
yes.
to the children.
There's also a report that was actually released last year, which showed that there's also a contributing factor of stigma that has led to many patients of, let's say, HIV getting into depression, later culminating into mental illness. Why? Because society at times stigmatizes them, that if at all you have HIV, they would see you, even today, someone would say, your days are numbered. Now, every time that, you know, echoes your mind, you will definitely feel like, I think I'm about to die. Now you get into depression, you start, you know, dealing with alcohol, you start dealing with drugs. And then you also look at, you know, some other cases which are quite unfortunate, is if someone loses a loved one.
Yes.
It can be a parent, it can be a spouse, it can be a colleague or a best friend, someone dear to their lives. And at times, simply because they cannot move on from that setback, they end up, you know, getting into alcohol abuse, they end up getting into, let's say, drug abuse to seek refuge. And this is where the element of opening up to people, or where at times you wish people realize that if you find someone to talk to, or even an activity to do, maybe it would, you know, kill off that stress. But at times everyone handles pain differently.
Yeah, and when you mention losing a loved one or even a job, these are some of the things that drive people into depression and other mental health-related problems.
Well,
but when it comes to death, as a society, we've not even been taught on how to deal with grief. People tell you guma, and they expect you to move on. But can you really just move on from losing a loved one?
Maybe, maybe not, depending on how you approach things and what level of exposure you have to the knowledge or the information about mental health challenges. The other thing I would look at as a cause for the mental health challenges would be drug abuse. Sometimes it may not even be initiated by you're going through something. It could be a colleague. You could try it the first time when you do not know what you're trying, and then before you know it, you're addicted. It could be medicine that you've been taking, and then before you know it, you keep taking. So drug abuse is one of those. Then talk about traumatic experiences. Now that's what encompasses rape, defilement.
And then you have PTSD.
Yes, you have PTSD, yes. Yes. Then talk about genetics. For people who have bipolar. Bipolar, yes. So it could be genetics as well. You're also going to look at chronic illnesses that could go up to the brain. Also, accidents. If you get like a bad head injury, most likely if your brain is affected, that could also lead to mental health to mental health challenges. So it goes deeper than we sometimes portray it, and that is why it needs to be given so much attention and ways put in place to enable us to know if someone is having depression because of a family issue, where do they go? Do they know that they are supposed to go there? We've been groomed in a society where we think I like that you mentioned that, and as we close,
Daniela Atim did share on her social media that she left her marriage to singer Jose Chameleone because of domestic violence that she says she had undergone for 16 years. Now, among the comments I saw, and a very lengthy post someone wrote, was that you cannot air out your dirty linen in public. Family issues must stay within the family. But we know that if you do not talk about some of these things, that is how sometimes women and men have met early death because they are fearing to be embarrassed. Now they are depressed and maybe they start having suicidal ideation and in some cases, suicide itself.
And you know, people also need to realize that people heal differently, or people go through phases differently, especially during depression. I think this is how we are losing so many people because we are not open to accept that they are going through phases and they need help.
That's
and,
if people know that
know,
they have to actually respect that.
Exactly. So few actually know that they are supposed to actually respect someone who comes up to open up. It is very difficult.
And it's very easy to tell people, move on, heal. But healing comes in different shapes and forms and takes different time zones. Some people will heal very fast. Some people, for instance, someone who lost a parent 25 years ago may still be going through some challenges to date.
Because there's some emotions that were never navigated enough.
Exactly. And then there is someone who says, I buried my mom and that's it. I'm okay. So people deal with issues differently. But anyway, thank you so much for sticking with us and for sharing your views on this topic. It is a topic, it is an issue of concern for every Ugandan, because if three people, like how we are seated here, three of us, one of us is dealing with a mental health related problem, that is worrying. And of course, as a growing population, with the world evolving and so many things changing in the job industry, at work, at home, everything is basically, so to speak, turning against us. So we need to take care of our mental health and we need to care about each other. Now, as we close, I have one view. He says a punishment is meant to painfully, mentally and physically. In Butabika, they give patients. Okay, no, this is preposterous. But thank you so much for sharing your views. And you're still watching Good Morning Uganda. We will take a short break and we'll be right back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Amaina gange ndi tubona kiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member kampani eno da twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala ab'ewakawaka. Abakyala ab'ewakawaka tuwemerera ku baami baife nga bonkana abajjamu nanda nga twiddi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women we yeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beeno okudulunda n'okudiriisa n'okolaki. Twafunamu ng'abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyeemu ng'abakyala. Gavumenti yaife ne ya Uganda ngyebaza. Okujja kujja nga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala Abannayuganda. Eri kujja nga etulobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleeta Parish Development Model. We have Myoga. Byonna biri kwida mu ki? Mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
From 1.8 tons, tons to welcome back to the GMU Tourism Express. We are still in Wake and having that experiential tourism, like getting so close to the wildlife, getting so close to the different species that call Wake a beautiful haven. And we are meeting the rhinos today. Did you know that you can only spot rhinos here at Wake and then Zua Rhino Sanctuary? Those are the only two places in the country where you can spot the rhinos. One thing that has just amazed me right now is that rhinos can actually weigh from 1.8 tons, tons, to 2.5 tons. Imagine, I think I weigh about 47 kilograms, but a rhino weighs up to 1.8 tons. That is amazing. So here we are, and we are getting close to the rhinos with Aine. He's still taking us around, and he's going to tell us more things interesting about the rhinos.
My name is Aine Magara Anwell, and I'm a zookeeper here at Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. And today we are going to talk about the rhinos, their care, their management, their general husbandry, and we take care of them. And these ones here are referred to as 1,000 white rhinos. And rhinos are the second largest animals after the elephants. So we have two species of rhinos. We have the black rhinos and the white rhinos. And the white rhinos are subdivided into two: the northern white rhinos and the 1,000 white rhinos. The ones we have over here are the 1,000 white rhinos. And rhinos in Uganda are regarded as extinct in the wild. Yeah. Extinct in the wild, I mean you cannot see them anywhere in their natural environment other than at the zoo or in a sanctuary. Uganda had a population of over 3,000 rhinos. We had what we call the northern white rhinos in Ajai, Pianupe National Park. We had rhinos so many. But by 1980, we had zero. They were all poached. And what do people poach them for? This horn you see over here.
What is it? Is it like ivory?
It's like ivory, but it is keratin. Keratin is a protein you find in your nails and hair. So it literally doesn't cure anything, but people kill this whole huge animal only to get
this horn.
Yes, only this horn, which is basically for traditional medicine, but scientifically doesn't cure anything.
Aine, first question.
Yes.
Because you know that most of the species that we have here, you attained them from somewhere. Where did you get the rhinos from?
These ones were specifically from a sanctuary in Kenya. It was the same batch that went to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. They came in 2000.
So how old is this?
They have been here for the last 24 years. This is the female. The female was 1 year, and the male was 18 months by the time it came. So she's 25, he's 26.
When you talk about the age of these rhinos, I'm definitely expecting that they should have young ones right now. What is really stopping them? Why aren't you breeding these rhinos here?
One of the major theories is that competition is required, or what we call the sex ratios. It may be male and female, but we need more than one male so that the female can be receptive. So we probably need another male, but I mean, these are not cows, these are rhinos. You cannot wake up and get another rhino just like that. But also, one of the major mandates to why these rhinos came here was conservation education. How do we tell the story to the public to conserve these unique dying species? And we are achieving that. The reason why Ziwa was set up was for breeding, and they are also achieving in the breeding part. So, but we would be excited to see baby rhinos.
What do you see apart from this dry grass? What else do you feed them on?
Rhinos are grazers. They feed on grass, basically short grass. That's why probably you see tall grass in their enclosure. They feed on short grass. We feed them on hay, which is dry grass. We also do what we call cut and carry. We have a farm, we cut grass on a daily basis fresh, and we give them. But also we give them what we call horse pellets, or they are more in a pellet form. But also we give them mineral brocks for vitamins, yes, and other trace elements.
What are some of the challenges? Okay, maybe when you talk about maybe the rate at which they fall sick, how do you treat them? The veterinary part of these rhinos, how do you treat them? How do you take care of them when they fall sick?
These rhinos have quite a very good immunity. I have not seen them get serious ill to put them down, but they get some injuries. They usually fight with each other, so some of the wounds are aggressive wounds. So we usually have oxytetravet, which is an antibiotic for wounds, maybe some discharges from the eyes, and you get eye drops for them. Yeah.
How do you apply, like, now the eye drops?
But he's very close. I can get very close to her.
She doesn't fight back?
No. You see? So if you can get that close, and also these rhinos don't sleep here, they sleep in the holdings. So there is like a walkway where they pass, which is small, so you can, in case of any intervention, you can apply the wound spray, the eye drops, whichever veterinary intervention you want to carry out.
I've seen you mixing some of the grazers together, species that graze together. Why aren't there other species in these specific paddocks rhinos?
Probably as a result of probably space and the feeding requirements. But if we had probably much bigger land, we'd mix them with some of the grazers.
But they don't have any issues with other grazers?
No. For us, they have their space, they're okay. Everyone will remain in their space.
In terms of character and behavior,
behavior-wise, one, rhinos are purely grazers. They feed on grass. So that in terms of feeding. Elephants are both grazers and browsers. They can feed on leaves. They can at the same time feed on grass. Tip I give to the visitors and the clients that are coming see these animals have feelings as well. So when you try to disturb or harass them, they feel very angry. When you find lions sleeping, please, they like sleeping, let them sleep. Don't throw stones and empty bottles at them. Just respect them, look at them, appreciate them without you harassing them.
Welcome along to the Game You Business this morning. And I'm going to kick it off with Islamic banking in Uganda, which is taking the right strides. As of yesterday, President Yoweri Museveni launched Salam Bank Limited, which offers Islamic banking services at the Kololo Independence Grounds in Kampala. Now, Salam Bank Limited is a subsidiary of a Djibouti-based Salam Group, and it's the first bank to receive an Islamic banking license from the Bank of Uganda, which was awarded by the central bank in September last year. Now, Museveni said there is a need for all Ugandans, including Muslims, to join the money economy by engaging directly in sectors that will financially uplift their lives. And he was quoted saying, I welcome Salam Bank to Uganda. This is a big market with a population of 48 million now. And in the next 27 years, the population of Uganda will be 106 million. You're going to start right away to serve the people of Uganda. Now, Islamic banking prohibits paying or receiving of interest. That is in the an Islamic term, riba. It is, however, based on profit sharing because Islamic banks focus on generating returns on investments through investing tools that are compliant with the Sharia law. So that makes it even easier for those banking with Islamic banking. Now, the Djiboutian Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister, that is Mohammed Ali Yusuf, said Salam Group aims to broaden the scope of all its activities all over the continent, including Uganda, which he said has a safe and solid financial environment. Of course, everybody speaks highly of how safe the environment is in Uganda. That is quite open for all investors who want to put their money into use here in the country. Now, also, when you look into the situation, the board chairman of Salam Bank Uganda, Ibrahim Abdirahman, said that the president asserting to the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2023, which operationalized Islamic banking, was timely for this venture, and also setting the record straight that Islamic banking is quite open for Uganda. Just a quick one, the Bank of Uganda licensed Islamic banking opened room for Islamic banking last year in September. So that is a right direction for all that are highly interested, or for many of the legislators who are pushing for Islamic banking to be operational in Uganda. Now, today I have so many news, but many of that is coming in from the banking sector. And the other report is also rotating around banking, as this time around the Bank of Uganda has approved an application by 3 commercial banks to downgrade their operations to credit institutions. Now, the 3 commercial banks, according to the Bank of Uganda, that requested are ABC Capital Bank Uganda Limited, then the Guarantee Trust Bank Uganda Limited, and Opportunity Bank Limited. These banks have been authorized a 3-month period to transition. That is starting from 1st of April 2024 to June 30th, 2024. In a public notice which was signed by the Deputy Governor Michael Atingi Ego, the 3-month transition period will allow these 3 commercial banks to make adequate arrangements to phase out products and processes that require Tier 1 license. This is intended to ensure a smooth service transition for their customers to mitigate any disruption of financial sector stability. Now, when you look at the background of this report, the application followed the anticipated failure to fulfill phased capital requirements that had required commercial banks to increase their capital budgets, their capital buffers from 25 billion Ugandan shillings to 120 billion Ugandan shillings by June 2022 and by 150 billion Ugandan shillings by June 2024. And these 3 then requested to downgrade to credit institutions. Now, the revision of the minimum capital requirement instrument was announced by Finance Minister Matia Kasaija in June 2022 before taking effect on December 16th of the same year. And also the instrument gives financial institutions, including our commercial banks and credit institutions, until June 30th, which is this year, that is 3 months away, to have fulfilled the required capital bands to strengthen and build commercial banks' liquidity buffers and ensure resilience against financial shocks of any magnitude. So in a letter of intent contained in the Uganda 5th review under the extended credit facility arrangement and the request for banking performance, you realize the government informed the International Monetary Fund Managing Director that as of end of September, at least 18 out of the 25 commercial banks had complied with the new paid-up capital requirement of 120 billion. And, well, you have to, for those who are banking with Opportunity Bank, Trust Bank, and the ABC Capital Bank, you should know that the bank, these 3 are now credit institutions, have now downgraded to credit institutions. And now lastly, from our world of business, we look at the forex market. Close of business Wednesday evening. How will you find these currencies rating today morning? Let's have a look at it courtesy of the Bank of Uganda to see how the various currencies are faring as close of business yesterday. And looking at the US dollar, that was buying at 3,889 by opening time, was also selling at 3,898 by closing time yesterday. So you can easily see that this is how you will find it selling and buying in the morning. Now, the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,906.59 while selling at 4,916.23. The euro was buying at 4,205.23 while selling at 4,216.08, while the Kenyan shilling was buying at 29.12 while selling at 29.43. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.52 shillings while selling at 1.52 shillings. And then looking at the South African rand was buying at 204.40 while selling at 204.93 shillings. So that's how you will find the forex market by opening time today. Well, that is it from GMU Business. More of the business updates will be back on Monday. It will be Easter Monday. And well, Holy Thursday is here. And so is the business world opening up entirely. Chantal Oliver Canada is right here to take you through the traffic updates. Good morning.
The traffic updates on Good Morning Uganda. As you are trying to make your way to town, let's see if you are using Gayaza Road, if you are able to use certain routes or not. So let's see how that plays out now. On Gayaza Kampala Road, the traffic seems to be really okay. If you're coming from Pelere side, you're okay. Coming from Chanja Road side, you're also okay. Total Chebando, that side, you're also okay to move as you are trying to make your way to town. Wherever you see a yellow line, that means there's just slow movement, but generally traffic is okay. Now, proceeding further, as you can see, as we are approaching the what is it called? The roundabout or the flyover. That is where you'll be, no, the roundabout, the Kalera roundabout. That is why you'll be finding some bit of traffic. For those who are coming from Nansana especially, that is where too much traffic is. However, it's a slow movement for you who is trying to join the Kalera roundabout to either go to Gayaza roadside or to join the Kampala Northern Bypass Highway. That's where you will be finding small holdups, nothing to worry about. Proceeding onto Gayaza Kampala Road, as you can see, when you move further into the road as you're trying to get into town, you will be finding a lot of traffic, and a lot of traffic up to this roundabout that is usually called the roundabout that has the route to Gayaza Road, the route to Bombo Road, and the route that connects you to the Synagogue Church of All Nations, but also the route that takes you to Kavule side. Now, as you can see, people who are on Kavule Road, or if you're planning to use Kavule Road, both you who is coming to town and you who is leaving town, you are headed for some bit of traffic, but especially you who is going to town, traffic is too much. You might want to consider a different route for you to be able to move, especially if you have an appointment that requires you to be in town a little earlier than usual. But as you can see, traffic is terrible if you're trying to join Bombo Road. Too much traffic from the roundabout. If you're joining from Gayaza Road, I tell you the traffic is terrible. As you can see, we have the deep red zones, and those show you. Now, if you're trying to connect to Dualito Road, also trying to connect to Binaisa Road, you realize that there is a lot of traffic on there as well. And I would highly recommend that you use a different route if you're in position to. Now, as you can see on Binaisa Road, traffic is indeed very terrible. So, in case you want to consider, please do not consider using that road now. On to Bombo Road, as we're trying to make our way to town, as you can see, we have holdups on Bombo Road and slow movement, but also we have some red zones showing you that there is a lot of traffic as you're trying to move further, trying to get to Wandegea Market side as well. Traffic is indeed terrible. And well, that is as far as we can go for the traffic updates, especially you who is coming from Gayaza side trying to make your way to town. But if you're joining in from Mwanda Road and you're joining the side of Mulago side, there is a lot of traffic. If you're trying to join Binaisa Road, traffic is indeed terrible. So please be mindful. If you're also joining Bombo Road, traffic is terrible as well. So you can choose alternative routes if you are in position to. And well, that's it for our traffic updates. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Amazina gange ndetibwa Nakiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala ab'ewakawaka. Abakyala ab'ewakawaka tuwemeera ku baami baife nga bonkana abajjamu nanda nga twiddi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beeno okudulunda n'okudiriisa n'okola ki twafunamu ng'abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eno eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyeemu ng'abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza. Okujja kweri kujanga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga etulobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byonna biri kwida mu ki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are